Alrighty. Let's work some more on this. Let's go into edit mode. After doing a little discussion with Mr. Foley and the guy that drew this, the guy that drew these pictures in, I think he said Photoshop or Microsoft. We've decided that we all three like that curve, like that. We call the Star Trek curve. Okay, I need to go to line mode. Select this line right here, delete. Okay, there's still a face there. Let's come to here. Let's go back to vertices. Let's push C so we can see it. And like I said, the trick here is going to be let's go to object mode. Grab this picture. Let's grab it to the axis, bring it in right there. Okay. Let's grab this. Let's go to edit. Hit the Z. Okay, that looks a little bit more what I'm looking for here. But what we got to remember now too is that either the shelf would have been thicker or this is going to be much more of an undercut because of the width of this hole being bigger. So what we probably want to do is actually start it back here. Which means I'll save this right quick in case I mess it up. I want to box in that. I want to box in this, and let's delete it. Oops. No, that's where we wanted to go. Okay, we're good. Okay, so let's box this and let's take a look at this on the Z right quick since we cut that out. Okay, one thing I want to do here a little bit that we can do so we can actually bring these and box this one here. Z, which makes it more round. Actually, that might be too much on the bottom there. That's a little better. And we want to grab this one. And I want to cross because I can already see that they're a little bit too flattened out. So they either need to come down or out. I think I'll scale them to the Y, bring them out just a hair. Sometimes you have to kind of do this. You have have to look at this thing at angles, find out if there's distortions in it from where you distorted it from the side. Okay. Let's go Z. Let's go box. Z, let's bring this down. About there. Actually, I think I might be messing up here. Let's try something real quick. Let's go Z, Control Z, Z. Let's try this a little bit different. Let's box these. Let's rotate them on the Y. About like there. Let's grab them to the Z. Let's bring them up a little bit. And that isn't really quite working. And I don't know why, because, like I said, this is a bigger hull, so we're going to have to put a bigger undercut in it. So what we need to do is grab these. Let's rotate these on the Y. About there, and then let's grab it. Z, bring it down so that we kind of have that bottom looking the same. Now one thing we're going to have to do is look at this, because that just... And another thing I'm going to have to do is go to object mode and take this picture here, grab it on the Z, get it down out of my way so I can see what I'm looking at here. Okay, there we go. Pick this as an object, and let's go 3 so we can look at the back here. Let's go, let's look at that. It's sharp. Okay. Alrighty. Edit mode. Okay. Now, one of the things we can do to make this so where it's not so distorted, which, because of that cut, yes, let's go Z again. Okay. So we got our bottom kind of where we want it. Let's bring this out a little bit. Okay, now you'll probably think this is kind of funny or funky, but what we're going to do is select A, we're going to box this in, and box this in, and box this in. So I was kind of right on that earlier. And delete it. And we didn't go quite enough, which is fine. Let's delete the vertices there. There we go. Now we're starting to get that shape. And all we're going to have to do, we're going to work this shape out, smooth it, work these vertices around a little bit. And there's a few things we can do. Like we can box this, grab it to the X, bring it just a little bit more in, and we can box them all. Grab them to the Z, bring them a hair more up. Okay. And the other thing we could do, although I don't like to do it because I think of this as framing. Yeah, I think I'll leave that alone for the moment. Box this and grab it to the Z, bring it up a little bit so we can transition that line a little bit. And box, grab to the Z a little bit. And we can actually grab that to the X and bring it a little bit more. That might be too much. Let's see. Like I said, as long as it tapers around with it, we're fine. If we see anything sticking out that's like really obviously big points, or looks like I can go on the back end here. Okay, let's go back to 1. And actually, we're kind of going to do a little trick here. Okay, we're going to go Z so we can see what we're doing here. And we're going to box this one, G, on the Z just a little bit. We're going to kind of straighten that line out. There we go. This looks a little more aesthetic. Let's see. This one actually don't look too bad other than we get down here a little bit. I think I'll leave that curve in there. But we want what we want to do now is we want to box this one here. Grab it to the Z just a little bit. We're going to grab this one. A little more. But actually, what's going to be interesting about this is, okay, let's grab both of these. Let's grab to the Z. Let's bring them up a little bit. And actually, that curve isn't really, it's curved in the middle quite a bit, but it's not really curved at the end that much. So there's a couple things I can do to kind of grab to the Z. Let's bring that up a little bit. Okay. Now, one of the things I can do here is I can actually add a loop cut. Which I don't like that. Whoops, see what did I do there? I rotated. I don't know what I hit, rotate. I don't know what the heck I hit. Oh, I just have to push the 1 and it brings it right back. Okay, use your brain, use your brain. Okay, so now let's go back to edit mode. And I took the loop cut back out. Let's put the loop cut back in here. Control R. And a left click A. There we go. So now I did that, so I'm going to grab this box here and grab it to the Z, bring it up a little bit. Grab it to the X just a hair. That kind of puts more of a curve there, because that's what we're looking for. We're kind of duplicating this shape on the Enterprise, but since this is a bigger hull and it's a wider hull, and I'm actually going to draw another hull to this too. So I have the options. Put another loop cut here. Control R. And that'll let us, we can grab this one, grab it to the Z just a little bit. Actually, we could grab it a little bit more. Kind of like that. And then we'll go A. And I'll show you why. We might have to back it out a little bit, but I'll show you. Grab Z. Because what we're doing is we're going to run this curve here, and then we're going to kind of put a flat slope on it. But we're going to raise up our again, I got a couple different options here, but one of the options is, let's grab this one, grab it to the Z, let's bring it up. Let's actually try to aim this dot kind of towards this other dot here, because we're going to connect these other two dots here, is what we're going to do. Kind of like we did before. Let's see, let's box this one. See, now this one has to go up just a little bit. Let's see. So I like where I'm heading with it so far. See, and we have a few little areas since I did that. What it really did was it really undercut those. So I'm gonna have to work from the back. I have to work from the back and like bring these out actually, but I think I'll wait to do that. Okay, so what I want to do now, let's go in line mode. Line mode. And we're going to select this line and this line. We're going to put deletion, we're going to put edges. That's going to delete our edges. Go back into vertices, but if you notice, we still have these little lines on the bottom here. Let's hit Z. We still have these little lines on the bottom here that are just hanging out here. So I want to box both of these. And I want to grab to the Z. We're going to bring that up until it's basically over that other dot. Okay, and then I'm going to zoom in to the microscopic nitty gritty. And if you notice, we zoom in all the way, it's not exactly over that, so we're going to grab it to the Z and we're going to bring it back up, and then until we basically see those two dots, those two vertices over each other. Okay, we're going to go A. And then we notice, since we went straight up with them, how far in they are compared to those other two. So we're going to box that one here. And we're going to box this one here. We're going to hit Z. We're going to hit 3 so we can see this from the side. And then again, we're going to scale this to the Y. And we're going to bring that dot right there. Pretty close. And then we're going to zoom in. Let's see how far I'm off to the microscopic, which I'm actually... This is where it's irritating me that I can't connect to last on my joining, and I don't know why that is. I got to figure that out. Let's see. Let's go scale to the Y. Kind of working it around the hard way. I could just selected those and connected them to the last. Maybe it's the way I'm selecting them. Try something right here. Scale Y, bring them back out here. Scale Y, let's bring them back out here. Okay. Try something right here. Let me deselect, which is A. Okay, let me try it this way. Let me go. Select, all I did is left click on that. Then I'm going to push shift and I'm going to click on this one. Then I'm going to hit W and push merge. Oh, here we go. This is what I was talking about. Now watch, if I click at last, see what it did? It just connected those two dots, so I didn't have to do all of that, try to centering it up and stuff. I just literally connected it, and it connected it to the last one. So if I push A, now if I come back over here, I can do the same thing with this one. I'll zoom it in so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, so I left click on the vertice, or really close to it, and it selects it. Then I hold shift and I click on this next one. And then I push W, and then I come up to merge, and then it gives me the at first, at last, which I want to connect it to the last one I selected. I could have done it backwards too. If I push A, like if I clicked on this one, and then shift this one, then I push W and I go merge. Now I would do it first because I want it to connect to the first one that's selected. And if you connected it center, it would actually split the difference and it would move both of them to the center. So that's a pretty handy little tool sometimes. Okay, now as you'll notice, I actually got a hole here. So if I go into, I could do it later, but I'll go ahead and do it now. If I go into line mode, click this line and this line, and like I said, now the problem here with this line too is that this is going to make a triangle, and supposedly in Blender triangles are no-nos. You want to try to avoid triangles at all costs. So there's only a few ways to avoid triangles, because anytime if you split a square in two kind of thing, it makes a triangle. I haven't actually had any personal problems with them so far, but there's some things I haven't done, and I really hope I don't end up running into a big problem all of a sudden when I'm trying to render something or I'm trying to animate something, and then the triangles or the polygons make a problem. But in Blender, they really discourage the polygons. There's a few things you can do to get around that. Okay, so I selected that top line, and that we'll select this one. We'll put F. So we just put a face in there, and like I said, you notice that's a triangle. So one of the ways we can make it not a triangle is actually, let's go back to face. Let's delete the face. Whoops, I didn't really want to do that. Control Z. I did want to delete the face. Let's try to delete. It's the only face. Okay, so I deleted the face, but I left the lines. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to put a loop cut. Let's try this. Control R. Okay, I put a loop cut in here. Okay, so if you notice, I have a loop cut, but it didn't loop cut into the triangle. Okay, so now I go back to line mode. So I still have this triangle, but if we look at the dots, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 dots that's in the lines on this triangle. So now, if I select this line, let's go to Z and I'll show you what I'm talking about if you can see this. Sometimes this gets real funky when you're looking at it in Z. It can get real confusing because you can be seeing the dots behind it and stuff. So I'll try to angle it so we're show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to select the bottom line. Oh, I need to go to line mode. Okay, I select the bottom line. Okay, push shift, I select the side line. Now if I select this line here, it only selects half of the line because I cut it in half with that vertice. And then yeah, we'll show it back at an angle. There we go. So if you count these lines, there's 4 lines here now, not 3. Even though it's still a triangle, Blender don't think it's a triangle. It thinks it's a weird shaped square. Okay, push shift, we'll catch the last one. Then we'll push F and A. Okay, now we'll push C. So again, now we're back at the point we have that triangle filled up, but it's not a triangle. It's a triangle in a sense, like you took a box and you folded it into a triangle shape, but it literally has 4 corners on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we come to the other side, or if actually we'll do the other side, same way, we'll select the bottom one, which is going to be white, so against that white background you probably won't see it real well. White. Shift, we select the side one, and then we select the one above it, and then the last one, and then we push F and A. So that's how you kind of trick in a triangle. The only problem with that, which isn't a big problem yet, but if we end up having way too many vertices on this model, we might have to come back in here and actually delete a lot of these faces and then reconnect them, and you can actually get a lot of geometry that way. You can get rid of a lot of it, and you can clean it up and stuff. Okay, so now we're looking at the hull of this ship from straight behind. Oh, excuse me. We're going to go back into vertice mode. Now what I want to do, which is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt, but what I want to do here is I want to, I have some of the same problems when I do my ship model hulls, because you kind of start and you want to look at object mode too. See, this doesn't really look all too bad in object mode, but if you go into edit mode and you see where these bottom lines and stuff look kind of ganky. The side, you know, our side shape is kind of looking basically where we want it. Oh, I actually wanted to do one more thing here too with this side shape. For this, okay, let's go Z. Let's box this. Now see, I could connect it up here to actually match the exact shape on the Enterprise thing. But I think I'm going to grab it to the X. I'm going to bring it in. I'm actually going to put a little taper on this, which is kind of more reminiscent of the Phase 2 or the no, I don't know why, but that put a shadow in there. Okay, let's push A. And let's grab this one. And let's match it up. Let's grab it to the Z. Let's bring it up to that shadow line. There we go. Better. Okay, so let's push Z. Let's go back to 3. I know I probably need to be watching my time. I'm probably getting up on a half an hour again. What I was starting to say, one of the things we can do with this is we can, one of the tricks here is you have to find the exact opposite vertice over here. We're going to scale to the Y a little bit. We're going to actually bring that out just a hair. I have double vertices because of that, I think. Oh no, I know what I'm doing. I'm actually dragging the I'm actually dragging the material over the top of where the other material would be, so to do what I'm wanting to do. Another trick we can do, except for now that's 2 lines, so we need to make it, keep it as 2 lines. Let's grab this one. Let's go 3. Let's scale to the Y a little bit. Okay, now we can grab the one below it. Let's scale to the Y a little bit. Let's bring that out. And I found sometimes you can use your lines from the back or the front too, and you can kind of clean up some of this geometry. But again, you got to remember that sometimes when you clean it up in this direction and then you go back to the side view, all of a sudden it starts putting your dots in places again. It changes it around. So literally, a lot of times on this thing, when it's saying it's 3D, it's 3D. It's literally top, bottom, side. Let's look at the top. But see, our top looks all good, but it's just kind of like basically squares. And at the moment, our side looks good. Like I said, if I go into object mode, that looks pretty good. It's just the back. You start hitting it from an angle. Go into object mode. And you can kind of see on the bottom how you got this shadow area along that lip. That's because these vertices all down here are tapered really inset, like this. I'll show you this one here. This one's not too bad, but as they go along, when we raised them up exactly on the Z, what it did was, since it brought it up, it also screwed up our Y dimension. So go scale Y, we can widen that just a hair, or actually that one is probably just fine where it's at, because it's just barely going in. But these other ones that are tapering are no far. We can grab them and we can scale them to the Y just a little bit. We can actually bring them a little bit back out, and that should clean up our little shadow line there. Run the third one up. I'll scroll in a little bit so you can kind of see how. Let's scale to the Y. Let's bring it out a little bit. You could almost follow that line. Maybe leave it a little bit of a curl, which means we need to go back down on this one a little bit. Scale it Y, bring it just a tad in. Okay. And you can straighten them up with each other. Sometimes that kind of works, and sometimes, like I said, it messes your other dimension up. So sometimes you got to compromise a little bit and play with them just a little bit. Okay, but this one here is definitely okay. And that's our under one. That one definitely needs to come out scale Y. Okay, right about there. And maybe we'll split the difference. That looks pretty good right there. Both lines look pretty straight. And then again, you can go to the lines that are above it and kind of do the same thing. Let's see what we got on object mode now. We still got a little bit of shadow, but it doesn't look as bad as it was. It looks a lot better. And then once we put the lips and stuff in here, and the little round extension, and this big fat hanger bay door, because like I said, this one's got a big fat, it's got 2 hanger bay doors in the front, but since the only perception of the way the hull looks, the way it was widened out, you would only have 2 options. You would either have to taper this down, you would have to taper it, or you would have to just have a totally fat hanger bay on there, which I think that's an okay option. We'll just put a fat hanger bay door on it. It'll just be a special deluxe hanger bay door for Starfleet. Okay, now I'm going to do one last thing. I know we're probably into 40 minutes now. I need to get on this. Let's go back into, let's save it right quick, just start with. And let's make this 3 or 4 at this point, just in case we want to go back and do some stuff or decided to change our mind. We'll save this as a 4. Okay, now I'm going to go to edit mode right quick. And this again is where it's going to get kind of funky. Because what I want to do is I actually want to grab this bottom here, and how it is kind of triangled here, I'm going to grab it to the Z, I'm going to bring it up a little bit, like about there, and I had noticed this before, I was working on it. Let's grab these to the Z, bring them just down a hair. Maybe even a little bit more, because we're kind of got flat lines there. I want a little bit more of a curve there. There we go. That looks a little better. Let's grab this one here. And you can go to 3. So we can go straight across. Okay, let's angle it again. And it seems like it's a little bit out. So let's scale it to the Y, bring it in just a hair. There we go. I know you probably don't look like I did anything, but I did move it just a little bit. Okay. And then let's look at that object. Not too bad. Okay. Let's go back to edit. Let's go into lines. And what I want to do, again, I don't want to make a triangle. So if I select this line and this line, and actually this line, we could actually look from the side. Okay, now by moving our lines, by moving those dots earlier, we messed this up a little bit, so I need to deselect, I need to go back into dots, Z. So I might have should have left those alone, but like I said, I can kind of tell. So let's box this one, let's grab it to the X, bring it in just a hair. And let's grab this one, grab it to the X and bring it in. Okay, now hopefully that didn't make big problems from the side. Nah, I didn't like it messed it up too much, but what I was starting to get at was, like I said, I don't want triangles. But what I do have to do is grab this one here, grab this bottom one, grab it to the X. I have to match that lip up. And the reason I have to basically match that lip up is because to avoid having a triangle on the bottom here, Let's go into lines, select this line, this line. I have to grab at least 4 lines. Push F, and then that way it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 5 dots. Okay. Push A. So I just put a lip on there, a face on there, and I avoided making a triangle with that face. And since our face is going to basically taper all the way up here at this point, now what I can do is select this one, select this one, and I know it looks way big because of the angle we're looking at it, but it's actually, they're actually the same size. We're just looking at an angle. Push F, push A, and same thing, we're going to select these two, F, A, select these two, F, A, and let's select these two, F, A, these two, these two, okay. Sometimes some of this stuff is real redundant. Let's pick this one, this one. Okay, so now we have our bottom surfaces. And I'm almost betting, oh, what I also want to do here is I want to select this one, Shift, and this one, and F, A. Okay, we have our bottom surfaces. But I'm betting if we go to object mode, that's what I thought, it's all rounded. It's rounded because I told it to be smooth. So we go back to edit mode. We go into face mode, push our T, and we're going to select, we're going to click this bottom one, and we're going to shift, and we're going to just select all the surfaces we just made here on this part of the ship. And we're going to click on where it says faces, we're going to click flat. And then we're going to push A, and then we're going to push T to get rid of the toolbox, and we're going to look in object mode again. Now if you notice, those are all flat, but they're also, you got all those lines on there. So that's kind of a conundrum there. Let's come over here. Let's go on double-sided, auto smooth. I might have to figure out a trick with this, because I don't really want those lines in there. But the only way, or I think actually, and we'll do this in the next video, I think what we can do is we can select all of these side lines here, and we can tell those side lines just to be sharp edges, but we can leave those faces smooth, and that should fix our problem. But if we look here from the side, I'm happy with how she looks. We put a big fat hangar bay door on there, and we put our 2 hangar bay doors over here, and our primary sensor, and we should be cooking with grease. And this is number 4 in the Stuart Foley Dreadnaught project. Thanks for watching. I will see you. Let's save this right quick. Save it as 4A, and I will see you on the next video.